I had seen the cartoon Medusa image printed on the yellow danger flag outside the injury hut. She has tusks for teeth and crazy eyes. When the Medusa flag is flying, it's best not to swim. Really, it is at your own discretion. He dabbed the sting with cotton wool, which he had soaked in heated-up seawater, and then asked me to sign a form that looked like a petition. It was a list of all the people on the beach who had been stung that day. The form asked me for my name, age, occupation, and country of origin. That's a lot of information to think about when your arm is blistered and burning. He explained he was required to ask me to fill it in to keep the injury hut open in the Spanish recession. If tourists did not have cause to use this service, he would be out of a job, so he was obviously pleased about the Medusas. They put bread in his mouth and petrol in his moped. Peering at the form, I could see that the age of the people on the beach stung by Medusas ranged from 7 to 74, and they mostly came from all over Spain, but there were a few tourists from the UK and someone from Trieste. I have always wanted to go to Trieste, because it sounds like tristesse, which is a light-hearted word, even though in French it means sadness. In Spanish, it is tristeza, which is heavier than French sadness, more of a groan than a whisper. I hadn't seen any jellyfish while I was swimming, but the student explained that their tentacles are very long, so they can sting at a distance. His forefinger was sticky with the ointment he was now rubbing into my arm. He seemed well informed about jellyfish. The Medusas are transparent because they are 95% water, so they camouflage easily. Also, one of the reasons there are so many of them in the oceans of the world is because of overfishing. The main thing was to make sure I didn't rub or scratch the welts. There might still be jellyfish cells on my arm, and rubbing the sting encourages them to release more venom, but his special ointment would deactivate the stinging cells. As he talked, I could see his soft pink lips pulsing like a Medusa in the middle of his beard. He handed me a pencil stub and asked me to please fill in the form. Name: Sofia Papasteriadis. Age 25. Country of origin UK. Occupation blank. The jellyfish don't care about my occupation, so what is the point? It is a sore point. More painful than my sting and more of a problem than my surname, which no one can say or spell. I told him I have a degree in anthropology, but for the time being I work in a cafe in West London. It's called the Coffee House, and it's got free Wi-Fi and renovated church pews. We roast our own beans and make 3 types of artisan espresso, so I don't know what to put under occupation. The student tugged at his beard. So do you anthropologists study primitive people? Yes, but the only primitive person I've ever studied is myself. I suddenly felt homesick for Britain's gentle, damp parks. I wanted to stretch my primitive body flat out on green grass where there were no jellyfish floating between the blades. There is no green grass in Almeria except on the golf courses. The dusty, barren hills are so parched they used to film spaghetti westerns here. One even starred Clint Eastwood. Real cowboys must have had cracked lips all the time, because my lips have started to split from the sun, and I put lip salve on them every day. Perhaps the cowboys used animal fat. Did they gaze out at the infinite sky and miss the absence of kisses and caresses? And did their own troubles disappear in the mystery of space like they sometimes do when I gaze at the galaxies on my shattered screensaver? The student seemed quite knowledgeable about anthropology as well as jellyfish. He wants to give me an idea for an original field study while I'm in Spain. Have you seen the white plastic structures that cover all the land in Almeria? I had seen the ghostly white plastic. It stretches as far as the eye can see across the plains and valleys. They are greenhouses, he said. The temperature inside these farms in the desert can rise to 45 degrees. They employ illegal immigrants to pick the tomatoes and peppers for the supermarkets, but it's more or less slavery.